Do you have questions concerning planning a Disney trip? Ask them live on the show or submit them on our website at patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matt with the DPI podcast. Kind of an interesting show tonight because we don't have a ton of news. So we're going to talk a lot about D23. Destination D23 is coming up in about a month. And I've been pretty skeptical about D23 for this year. Just because there's a lot that I feel like hasn't been announced, isn't going to be announced. They've got a lot of projects going on right now, and I feel like this is more of like an update year more than anything. But I could be surprised, and one of the things that we're going to go over tonight is some of the rumors that I've been kind of following online. You know, I'm pretty good about hashing out rumors before I bring them to the show. So there's some rumors that are out there. There's some wish list items that I'd love to see. So we're going to go over some of those. We're also going to talk a little bit about Lorcana, what's going on with Lorcana. They are continuing to announce more and more of their challenge and Grand Prix and all kinds of different things on the schedule through the next year. So we got some more information with the Tokyo Grand Prix over the weekend, so we'll share that. Also, some information from last week's Lorecast. Got a lot of events going on pertaining to Disney, so, you know, we're going to talk a little bit about those as well. So like I said, really good show. We're going to lose this part of it here in a second, but hey, thanks for joining us early. You get all the deets. Let's jump into the show. Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. Through creative content and live shows, we explain the hidden details of the Disney experience so that our clients can execute memorable adventures. Together with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, we have helped hundreds of clients plan, book, and prepare for magical Disney vacations. Let our experience help you avoid common planning mistakes and maximize the enjoyment on your next Disney trip. Hey, what's going on, Matt? What's going on, Matt? I'm Matt. What's going on, everybody? I'm Matt. This is the DPI podcast. It's Monday. It's a weird Monday. If you caught us in the pre-show segment, I told you a little bit about what's going on. A few housekeeping items before we get really running into things. This is the first night that I am running ads on the YouTube side. So if you're over on the YouTube side and you see ads, I kind of want to know kind of what the frequency looks like, that kind of stuff. I'm letting YouTube kind of do its thing tonight and see what it does. But if you do see some ads over there, A, thanks for watching them. B, let me know how it affects kind of where it jumps into the show and that kind of stuff. I'm really interested to see how they handle that. Also, as always, thank you guys for subscribing this week. Up another 10 subscribers on the YouTube side, a couple followers over on the Twitch side. If you were on the show last week, you saw Henny and Hannah Joey subscribe or follow over on Twitch during the show. Over on the YouTube side, Chloe D, Nathalie Gonzalez, and Sebastian the Man all subscribed over there. So let me run those real quick. They made themselves public. I get to tell them, give them the shout out, and thank them for joining the show. Very much enjoy doing that every week. Without you guys, no show, no fun, no talking on Monday nights. So I appreciate everybody that jumps on, hits that subscribe button, and is a part of the show. Whether you come and watch a video, leave a like, share it, whatever, you guys all do different things to push the show forward. So I thank you for that. So tonight, if you looked at the title, D23 Rumor Show, and it's not necessarily 100% a rumor show. It is going to be very much a, what do we expect from D23? What are we hoping for from D23? And what am I hearing that might be a part of D23? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also going to Crystal Wolf come back. Hey, thanks for joining us over on Twitch. Don't be a bot, please. I don't want to join your Discord. Just say hi, hang out, watch the show, talk Disney with us. That's what we like. Crystal with the follow over on Twitch. Thank you for that. So yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about D23. We're also going to talk about some big events. No, not a bot. Hey, that is awesome to hear. I have been inundated with bots over on Twitch here. Almost every show for about the last 3 months, I've had a bot jump on, talk about their Discord, how they can help me grow subscribers, and then I never hear from them again. So, Crystal, thanks for joining us over on Twitch. So 3 big events going on around Disney and Disney related here coming up. So this past weekend was San Diego Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con, great for the PopCon audience. Usually you get a ton of stuff movie-wise from SDCC. And you got a little bit this year. But one of the big things that came out that was Disney-related is one of the panels was an artist panel, and it was one of the old Disney animation artists. And there was a guy that used to do a lot of villain animation and oversight of the animation team and all that kind of stuff. Well, part of the conversation that he had was how Disney brought him back to be a part of the artistic team for the new Villains Land. So if you've been a part of the show for a while, you kind of know my skepticism on the Villains Land. It's been there. They've talked about it. They made a big deal about it. And then all of a sudden, they didn't talk about anything in regards to it. It was all about Cars Land and everything that was going into Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island and everything there. So the conversation that this guy has been a part of the artistic team means that this is a project that is still moving forward, which is really cool. I think this is a really cool addition to the park, and actually gives the park the ability to add something that I think would be a neat addition, and that is a back gate to the park. Where this area is going to be located is kind of off between the Grand Floridian and the golf courses. If you take the road past the Grand Floridian to where the Grand Floridian entrance is, past Shades of Green, it becomes a service road to the backside of Magic Kingdom. I think they have the ability to expand that road, put a villains-themed hotel on the backside of Magic Kingdom, and add a back entrance into the Villains Land from that hotel. I think it's a cool idea. If you look at a lot of the other resorts around the world, they have hotels with their own entrances to the park. If you look at Disneyland Paris, the Disneyland Hotel has an entrance to the park. You go to Disneyland, Grand Californian has its own entrance into California Adventure. So this wouldn't be an unprecedented move for Disney to do this. Will they do it at Magic Kingdom? We'll see. I think it's a neat opportunity for them to look at. We'll kind of go from there. What else do we know is going on? Well, we've got a lot of construction going on at the park, and if you follow people like BioReconstruct, Scott Gustin, that kind of stuff, you're getting a bunch of photos from the parks on what's going on. So we've got the huge refresh, let's say, the re-theme of Dino Land in Animal Kingdom to the tropical Americas, the equatorial Americas. That is going to be a cool project. So what do we've got going there? We've got an Encanto ride, we've got probably a carousel-y type ride, another slow ride, and then we've got a complete redo of Dinosaur into an Indiana Jones ride. D23, we need to get some information on the Indiana Jones ride. We know Dinosaur is closing at the end of the year. Let's get an updated timeline. Let's get some art. Let's get a name. I think a name would be awesome. Because I think this refresh, I don't know that they're really going to do anything to the track per se or the ride per se. I think it's all going to be in the visual. Let's get an idea how long that's going to take. Is it going to take a year? Is it going to take a year and a half? Is it going to take 2 years? I know 2027 is the estimated opening date for everything over there. Do we get Indiana Jones earlier, later? How is that going to work? So let's get a timeline on that. Also, Animal Kingdom. Let's put this on the wish list side, but it's almost like a confirmed wish list thing. I think they're just working through the kinks. I think 2027 we get a new nighttime spectacular at Animal Kingdom. Well, Disney wasn't around other than the animation studio at World War II, and they actually Disney used their animation studio as propaganda against the Germans, so that doesn't make a ton of sense, but there were all kinds of Disney animations that were characters fighting the Nazis. So if Hitler liked it, he was very much against his own team. So, well, that's an interesting thought there. So Nighttime Spectacular, Animal Kingdom. So we know Dronezios is 100% in on a drone show at a Disney park. Is it going to be in addition to fireworks at Magic Kingdom? Is it going to be a standalone drone show at Epcot or at Animal Kingdom? Animal Kingdom is the most likely. And why is Animal Kingdom the most likely? Well, right now they don't have a nighttime spectacular. On top of that, that theater back there by Everest really lends itself well to something like a drone show. I'm pretty sure. Something like a drone show. Drones aren't going to bother the animals. It makes a lot of sense. Now, what is the drawback from a drone show at Animal Kingdom on the Disney side? It means Animal Kingdom has to stay open later. It's one of those things where I think Disney keeps fighting this. And I don't know why. I really don't know why Disney fights it. Because Animal Kingdom was a park that was made to be enjoyed at night. Why would you do everything in Pandora that you did if it wasn't supposed to be open when it was dark? Why would you create things like the Awakenings of the Tree of Life if it wasn't supposed to be open at dark? You know, you've got the nighttime safari ticketed event, that kind of stuff. Again, if the park's not open at dark, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So in speaking with somebody from Drozios on Twitter X, and this is, I would say, about a year ago. It was right as the drone show at Disney Springs was wrapping up. And they kind of like cheekily said, hey, this could be a thing. And I think it's something that, you know, a timeline makes sense. I think they still are working on the viability of drones in Florida on a... I'm not working in Disney. I do a lot of informational stuff for a travel agency, basically. I think 2027 makes sense because the viability issue is still there for drones on a nightly basis. The Dreams That Soar show had quite a few drones that failed night after night. And if you're going to have a show like that, you've got to have drones that aren't going to fail all the time. Dreams That Soar was kind of unique because it didn't ever go over a pedestrian area. It went from basically a parking lot over the lake between Saratoga Springs and Disney Springs, and there wasn't any risk of drones falling onto people. At Animal Kingdom, there's no good place that they could put the drones where they could get to that theater without having to go over people. Unless they put it on top of the building, the theater in the Wild building, and close that pathway off during the show. Now, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense because that's basically one half of the theater. But that would be really the only area that they could bring them in from, where they wouldn't have to close off a significant area of the park, or a significant exit to the park. So that's the one thing that they've got to work around, is if these drones are going to be flying over people, how does that work? So yeah, what's your question, Crystal? So that's Animal Kingdom. Hollywood Studios. We had a rumor that was kind of confirmed at Hollywood Studios. So we had talked, I think it was 3 weeks ago on the show, about some rumblings that we were getting from cast members about the possibility of a change to the Star Wars launch bay. Well, last week, where we thought, what is worth going to in Disneyland? That's an interesting question. So, Crystal over on Twitch just asked, what's worth going to in Disneyland? So, Disneyland, by Disneyland, I would assume you're meaning California. There's a lot worth going to at Disneyland right now. Disneyland's celebrating their 70th anniversary right now. They've got a lot of special activations for the 70th anniversary, including a show that has an animatronic Walt Disney. Whether we like how they did it or not, I think it's something cool to see if you're a Disney fan. A lot of original rides there. Original Pirates of the Caribbean's there. Land California, really, really cool. Cars Land's awesome. Yeah, it just depends on what you like. I mean, Disney for a lot of people is a lot of different things. So, for me, there's a lot of things that I like to do. I do video, I do pictures. I enjoy being there with the family. It is a very different experience with and without my family. My wife and I take trips to World quite a bit by ourselves. And they are very different trips than when we have the kids with us. So, yeah, there are a lot of things there. What I like about Land over World is Land feels smaller and quaint, even though it really isn't. The way that they have everything together and the way that the park's laid out, just, it feels like it's a little bit more nostalgic. So, no, if you're a Disney fan and have never been to Land, it's probably one of the coolest experiences I've ever... No, Land and World are very different places. Disneyland is in California, Disney World is in Florida. So, very, very different places. So yeah, like I said, it's just a lot of different things to different people. Like I said, for me, I didn't go a lot when I was younger, but I've been a lot as an adult with kids. So for me to see my kids grow up being able to go and enjoy it and that kind of stuff is really cool. Okay, so you're in Germany, Europe. Then the one in Europe. So Disneyland, Disneyland Paris. We have been there as well. Love that park. What Disneyland Paris does, two things Disneyland Paris does better than the American parks. So we've been to the two American parks. We've been to Disneyland Paris. We haven't been to the parks in Asia yet. We're going. We haven't been there yet. Disneyland Paris is much more artistic. The buildings are cooler. Big Thunder Mountain is a better ride over there. Their Haunted Mansion has a different story, and I think it's the best Haunted Mansion that we've been on. And the food over there is phenomenal. We had one mediocre meal, and everything else was spectacular. So again, but I think with that, it's the same type of thing. If you're like an Eiffeling fan, where you're like thrill rides and that kind of stuff, Disney, the Disneylands and the Disney Worlds and that kind of stuff probably aren't for you. Because there's only going to be like one or two, maybe three rides that you're really going to like in those parks. But if you're going with a very wide age range of people and that kind of stuff, it's very good because it allows different people to do the same thing. That's one thing that I've always liked about like the main parks. So, Magic Kingdom at Disney World, Disneyland Park, Disneyland Paris, that kind of stuff. Those parks, those individual parks, are very good at keeping families together on rides. But like I said, if you're a bigger ride person, Disney's probably not the best experience for you. Because at each park you might get one, maybe two ish like high thrill rides. Everything else is going to be medium thrill and lower. Like if you go to Disneyland Paris, you've got Space Mountain, you've got the Iron Man roller coaster, you've got Big Thunder Mountain, and that's about it. Crush's Coaster, I would say, is in that medium thrill ride. Big Thunder Mountain, medium ish, maybe high side medium, depending on if you're a roller coaster fan. So it's a very different type of park. It's very much more of a family oriented type park than your other theme parks that you would go to. So hopefully that answers your question. Whereabouts are you in Germany? My last name kind of gives away where my family's from, but where are you located in Germany? So let's get back to let's keep talking about some of the things that are D23. So D23, Hollywood Studios. We had the whole animation courtyard thing announced last week. We had some rumors about that a few weeks ago from some cast members. And they came to fruition. So basically what they're going to do is if you know Hollywood Studios, as you go around the Brown Derby and over there by Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, there's the big arch, the Hollywood Studios arch. They are demolishing that. They are opening up that courtyard. They are bringing animation experience. So, Once Upon a Something. The short that they did, I say a short, it was like 5 minutes or something, that they did for Disney World's 50th. That's kind of the experience that they're expecting there. So animation studio, probably Animation Academy in the building. Heavy art. Presence in the building. The kids, I was talking to the kids earlier. They were like, why can't they put like an animator's palette in there? I think that would be super cool. Let's put another nice, mid to high end sit down in there. That's the animation, like on the boats, the animator's palette. That'd be awesome. Are you getting paid for giving so much information, Disneyland World? Or do you pay for the information? I find all the information for free. I give all the information for free. Really, how I get paid on the channel is the video work that I've done around the parks. I have some videos that have done really well over on YouTube, and that's kind of what funds this now. So, yeah. Now, if you go over to our YouTube page, Disney Planning Insights, we've got a video over there that in the last... It's a little over a year old now, and it's done 400,000 views. So that's how we get to do this now. For the 5 years prior to doing that happening, we did it all for free. Basically, we are a travel agency that specializes in Disney travel. So we get some referrals from the show, but really we just sit here and we talk Disney. And so you're doing free ads. So I do, ads for the travel company, basically. Everything else, if it's over on YouTube, we get a little bit of kickback from that. Over on Twitch, we don't get anything from Twitch right now. I just like having it over on Twitch because we're going to be transitioning into some different content here relatively soon, and I think Twitch is going to be the better platform for that content. So yeah. So Animation Courtyard, the rumor's true. Villains Land, not canceled. Keep going. Animal Kingdom Night Show, we talked about that. Okay, what else do we have going on? So let's talk about Magic Kingdom. We need to know what's going on with Cars Land. We need to know about the second ride. Knowing what the second ride is really going to solidify this next rumor. So I've talked about this incessantly for the last 2 months, and it is the Tomorrowland project. And with Fantastic Four First Steps coming out and having People Mover music and just the aesthetic of that movie, I really feel like this is something that Disney is prepping fans for. I really feel like this is something that is coming. And it's going to come eventually. I could say it for the next 3 years, and when it finally happens, I'll be able to say, oh yeah, I talked about this years ago. But it's more about, I really think the timeline makes sense now for 2030. And why 2030? Okay, you got to hear me out here on this one. So, you've got Cars Land going in, okay? What are things that are invented in Germany? Just guess. A lot of things were invented in Germany. It's a very, very old economy. Steam engines. Yeah. The printing press was invented in Germany. A lot of things. Ride Spaceship Earth. The Gutenberg printing press was invented in Germany. So we've got the Cars Land coming. If we get the second Cars ride that I think that we're going to get, it makes sense. Now, are they going to do the second Cars ride right? They have the possibility of putting 2 rides on the same land and giving 2 very different experiences. You've got the Pistons Peak area, why don't you put your Radiator Springs Racers ride over a Tin Lizzie ride? So you can kind of cross off that Tomorrowland Speedway needs to go type thing by putting it somewhere else. You have the ability to put electric cars on it, do all the upgrades that you're doing at land to Autopia, and bring those to World as part of this land. It makes sense. You're going to have all this land to do it, have it run through the mountains just in a different way, slower, and then you have the big cars that are going faster around it. I think it could end up being super cool. Does it happen that way? Probably not. We're probably going to get like a Tow Maters hoedown or something like that, like at land, or the Luigi like the dancing car thing. Most famous food in the United States. I don't know, probably the cheeseburger is the most famous food in the United States. So Tomorrowland Project 2030. So you get Cars Land done, say end of 27. They start on Villains Land probably sometime late next year. That's going to open in 29. Gives Tomorrowland Speedway the chance to shut down. Tomorrowland Project starts as soon as Villains Land closes. Or as soon as Villains Land opens up. That handles park capacity issue. You're still going to have most of your rides in Tomorrowland open. Tron, Carousel Progress, People Mover, Astro Orbiter, probably all stay open. It's German. I thought something is German. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that are popular in the U.S. are from foreign countries because the U.S. is a population of generational immigrants. So, I mean, my great-great-grandparents are from Germany. So, everything that we have here, unless it was invented in the last 100 years, probably came from somewhere else. Foods, a lot of them came from other places. Because Europe was making food a lot differently than the Indians were in the U.S. So Tomorrowland Project makes a lot of sense. What that does is it allows refresh of, or put a ride in where Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor is. Put a ride in where the old Alien Encounter, Stitch's Great Escape was. Redo Space Mountain. And then you have the land for Tomorrowland Speedway to utilize for something very, very different over there. What else do we have for D23? Play Pavilion. Play Pavilion is something that I feel like is going to get restarted. There's rumors that it's back in the works. So you're going to see, if it's back in the works, you're probably going to see something associated with that. Now, when they initially pitched it, it looked very much like something you would have seen in Ralph Breaks the Internet, the Wreck-It Ralph 2. I'd love to see that. I don't know that we get anything like that. So what other events do we have going on that are big for Disney? Well, the next one's going to be Gen Con. Gen Con is here in Indianapolis starting this week. It's amazing to think that Gen Con is already here, which means, we are getting close to the end of summer over here. But Gen Con week announcements, we have a lot of things going on for Gen Con, and one of the big things is the announcements of the reprints, and with that being said, 3 new reprint, or 3 new card announcements came out today. 2 of them are reprints. One of them looks like a new card, and they are Strength of a Raging Fire, the Uninkable Sisu, and then a new Queen card, the Queen card for the Amber ink. That's interesting. So those are going to be the promos for this set. So 2 older cards, 1 new card will be the promos. We also have the promos from Gen Con for the event. So you're going to get the Pluto Tried and True. You've got the Ana Icebreaker that's going to be part of that. You've also got the Goofy Emerald Knight that's going to be a part of that. So there's a lot of promos, a lot of things going on. Like I said, we're also probably going to get the whole reprint list at Gen Con this year. Also, what else has been announced? So we had the CCQs, so the championship qualification event. First 3 were announced on the Lorecast last Thursday. First one is going to be in Cardiff in the United Kingdom. Second one's going to be in Stockholm, Sweden. Both of them are going to be on the weekend of September 27th. And then the third one that was announced was in Wakefield in the United Kingdom. And that is going to be on November 29th. Over the weekend, we also had announcements for the Japan series. So the Japan series is going to be run a little bit different. They are going to run Grand Prix events leading up to 2 championships, and a way to get into the championships is going to be through these Grand Prix events, or through to the championship through the Grand Prix events. They're going to have 2 challenges as well. They've got 1 announced already, but so the Grand Prix, the first Grand Prix was over the weekend in Tokyo. We knew that was happening, and we'll get some results here in a few minutes. The next one is going to be in Kyoto, and that is going to be on October 5th. The third Grand Prix event is going to be in Ashi on February the 22nd. Now, those are going to lead up to the challenges. So the first challenge is going to be in Tokyo on January the 18th of next year. The second challenge they have not given a location for yet, and that is going to be sometime in June of next year. The championship is going to be, they've only put summer so far for the championship, and haven't given a location for that as well. I would imagine it's going to be in Tokyo as well, but that's going to be invites from the Grand Prix, and then the top 8 per challenge are going to go to the championship. Now, one of the interesting things that I saw in the event schedule was one of the Grand Prix is going to be a team trio format, and that is another new format for Lorcana that they're going to be using in one of their qualifying events, which is really, really cool. So interested to see how that goes. That's going to be the one in October, so we'll definitely be following along to see how that goes. So a trio challenge, basically 3 people on each team. You have to represent all 6 ink colors through the decks. We'll see how that plays. If it's going to end up playing more like a triple deck format, or if it's going to play like almost like a 9 game format per match, like a game against each player on the other team. So we'll see how that works out. Interested to see what the rules are for that. So got a lot of announcements on that side. Next week we will follow up on what we learned from Gen Con. That is going to be the Lorecast for this week will be from Gen Con. We've also had some in-person conversations about the start of the Pack Rush sessions series, and hope to get maybe a few of those taped here in the next month as well, as we lead up to Fabled, which will come out the 1st of September to all retailers. So yeah. So like I said, lots going on. Well, Crystal, thanks for the conversation over on the Twitch side. Very much appreciate that. Everybody that came over and watched over on the YouTube side, always appreciate you. Jake, thanks for not telling people to go watch videos on another channel tonight. You took my warning over the weekend of hitting you with a shoe seriously, and I appreciate that. So if you were one of the 40 people that jumped on over there, thank you. I appreciate it. And as always, thank you very much for coming and checking out the show. We have a lot of fun with it. We do it for free. Gives us a chance to talk about Disney. Be a kid for a little while. I like it. So, until next week, have a good week. Stay cool. And we will talk to you next Monday. Bye now. Thank you guys for watching tonight. We didn't have any guests, but like I've said for the summer, we'll have some here in the near future. So stay tuned. Looking for us on social media, you can find us in a lot of different places. The easiest is going to be over on Facebook at DPI Podcast. If you're looking for conversation, find us on Twitter at Disney Insights. And we have all the other channels as well. So you can find us on Instagram and YouTube and Twitch and Threads and everything else. Thank you guys for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, following, everything else that you do to support the